one of the basics, right? When building a shelter, it needs to be insulated. And I know I've been going on about straw, how it is insulating, not only for the growth of your vegetables and plants and so on, right? But they also used it throughout the ages to insulate houses, right? And if it can insulate a house, it can insulate your shelter. Pretty simple, right? So look at this. I mean, this is super frozen, right? But you still have tall grass. Use it for your shelter if you can. If you can find it, it is a very, very good insulator, okay? And one of the reasons, I mean, it's still easy to work with, right? By now, the moss is somewhat frozen, and it's going to take a lot more time to, well, handle it, if you are going to handle it, right? So straw, very, very good. Spruce is really good building material as well. It's green all year round, and it's well, it's thick. You can use it as a framework, and you put straw on it, maybe some moss later on. You know, it depends on how far you want to take it, right? But another thing is, winter it gets really, really hard to find water, right? However, all of this white garbage here, it is water, right? It's super simple. It is water. So the frost here, I mean, eventually if there's snow, that is water. So it is in a way easier to find clean water during winter than it is during summer, which is kind of ironic, right? But when you collect the grass, you can easily collect the frost as well, right? You can put up some material you can use, like a tarp or maybe clothing, right, to collect the moisture, because the frost is going to build upon the material you put on the ground, right? You can shake it off, and that way you get water. Super simple. Super, super simple. And there are different ways of collecting water from trees, right? Like one of those pipes you use to collect maple syrup, for an example. But they only work during summer, because at winter the trees they stop pumping water, right? Because, you know, for obvious reasons, they don't need it for their leaves anymore, and for their growth, and for their photosynthesis, right? Wow. So it's gonna stop pumping water, and that option is, well, out the window, right? So frost, snow, put something out on the ground, let it collect the frost, and then just like scrape it off into a container, and you know, that way you get a collection of water. You can always scrape it off the grass you collect as well. I mean, any way of getting a decent amount of water. So same thing goes for the method where you put a plastic bag over the branch during summer, right? You can collect water by the perspiration of the plant, right? It's a very simple solution, and it works. But like I said, during winter, the plant stops pumping water for a number of reasons. It doesn't need it for the photosynthesis, and I mean, it avoids the plant from freezing, actually. So there are a number of benefits connected to that, right? So nature is really, really smart. And I'm not sure if I need to tell you this, but you know, yellow snow is not for drinking, okay? Pretty simple. It is a big no-no if you wanna, you know, stay fresh and kind of parasite free, right? Well, that is the basics of water during winter. It is not really that complicated. I mean, there are a number of ways of finding it. You can still chop a hole in the ice, right? Collect water there, but it is going to be a little bit trickier filtering it because, well, it's going to freeze as soon as you pour it in the filter, right? Unless you have a really warm space to do it. If you have a really warm space to do it, build a filter it, boil your water, right? I mean, it is a no-brainer to be honest, but you know, use your use your I would say imagination, and you know, practice makes perfect. That is what everyone knows, right? I mean, there is a reason why you have an apprenticeship before you become the master. It is, well, the way of nature, all right? Now, it's debatable how much water you actually need per day, right? And there are indications that the recommendations are, you know, slightly over the top, right? Because everything you eat contains water, right? And drinking too much water puts unnecessary strain on your kidneys. I mean, that is applicable in real life and, you know, normal life, right? Not just in nature, just, you know, everyday use. There are foxes that they get in their entire day's consumption of water from their food during winter, right? They don't drink any water at all wintertime. And I mean, that should give you an indication on, you know, how much water you actually need. And well, you can monitor your urine. Your urine is a really good indicator on if you have too much water or too little water. But if you want to look into that, I recommend the internet and do some research. Okay, so that you have the full picture. And well, when you live in nature, you're gonna start peeing a lot more, right? Like when it's this cold, right? And don't worry, it's normal. This is what the body does. The urine is really, really warm, right? And it's a really energy-consuming heating system, I guess you can call it, right? The amount of energy the body puts into actually keeping the urine warm is not, well, there's no way for the body to justify doing that during winter, right? So it just, you know, gets rid of it. It's as simple as that. So if you start peeing a lot more during winter, don't worry. Normal, okay? So if you like the content,
Whoa!
share, like, subscribe, you know, maybe not in that order, but you know the thing, you know the drill, right? I mean, you've been around for a while, so yeah, and see you later.